KT standards, and KT doesn't have standards. But they do make for some entertaining League of Legends.
Yes.
So we'll sign up for that.
Always fun.
Always fun. Kingen has been at the forefront of some of the more esoteric meta developments in top lane, together with Zeus, but whereas with Zeus it feels like generally it's kind of a smash hit. For Kingen it's Diana top.
Yeah.
Didn't quite end up working out. Even the Anivia, which Kingen was the first one to play, I'm pretty sure.
I think he was, and then Zeus played it.
Zeus played it, and Kingen played it a few more times, but then Kingen just never looked quite as good. And still think Kingen has had a good season so far. He's been one of the more stable parts of Nongshim, which feels weird to say, together with Gideon. And Lehens.
Look at that Xin Zhao and Cuz respect.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, actually. I think it's a very strong B1 pick. Generally, we see it in Game 2, though. I'm not sure about a Game 1 ban on red side, but that's why I called it a lot of respect towards Cuz and the champion.
Yeah. Xin Zhao and Vi both taken away, so two of the best junglers. Are they also going to ban, like, Sejuani? Are we really triple banning Cuz? And I do actually think Cuz, and I'm a big Cuz guy. I felt this guy was criminally underrated in 2023. I thought he got kind of done dirty when he was on the Kwangdong roster last year.
Yeah.
But this year, he frankly hasn't been that good. He's been fine. I think he had like 1 or 2 games where he did really pop off, but he's been fairly inconsistent as the Kalista versus Varus trade. Certainly to come through here, is my guess at least.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I feel like Kalista is strong, but B1ing it definitely just kind of hole you into a specific kind of composition.
Yeah, Rumble Varus. Maybe Sejuani pick away. You don't have to pick up the Varus now. You can do it in 3 as well.
Sejuani Rumble?
Sejuani Rumble makes sense. Yeah, could see that.
Or maybe they just wait for the Rumble and then they pick Galio. 2-0 in the top lane. Or they just pick Elise to deal with the bottom lane.
So this is both a pick away and a preemptive Renata counter. Now, if Elise actually is a Renata counter, we're going to kind of leave it in the middle. I think that that's a definitely favor, but it's a skill matchup. Lance is obviously the Elise support guy, played it before it was cool. But it does mean that I think both the Renata and a lot of the other engage ports should go, lose value. Peter, though, plays Nico, which we have seen people pick into the Elise because it's range versus range. You can block the Cocoon, and it's really hard to lock the Nico down. And also, Peter is actually our best Nico in the moment. Like, it used to be Carrier, but I think right now I actually feel very confident to say that it's Peter.
That's a big step up for Peter.
It is.
Who was really struggling even on Yuumi a couple seasons back.
And they also locked in the Kalista. So like Kalista Nico is basically the dream combo. So I have a hard time really getting too enthusiastic about what Nongshim is doing. I do think that their draft in isolation looks fine. Also, Lehens is kind of the guy for Nongshim that gets stuff done around the map. The Calyx Yone would make sense. They'll probably ban away some of BDD's champions that he could go.
Or more junglers. I mean...
Yeah, could be as well. But I think now you've gone kind of to the point where whatever they pick, you should be fine with. Maybe a Viego ban, something I could see, because Viego is Cuz's next favorite champion. And it goes really well with Kalista as well as the just upfront burst that's already there.
Yeah, I mean, they've already targeted Cuz, so they're going to dig deeper. The hole that Cuz is in with this. I'm very surprised they just gave Rumble over without really showing any signs of dealing with it. I mean, they can still pick Galio if it's not banned, but yeah.
I also think as there is a Viego ban, I also think dropping Kalista Prio for Nongshim is a big mistake. Kalista to me is one of those champions that really struggles into the Taliyah. And it also is a good pick away. It's one of BDD's best. I imagine they don't want to walk into a counter, which is why they went for the Yone. It also works well together with the Sejuani. And it's a pick away because they were definitely going to look for that Rumble-Yone combo. Is the Aurora, which obviously most likely would have been the counter pick that Kingen can go towards, but it's Kingen. So who knows what he will pick.
Diana.
I hope not.
I mean, I feel like Galio is very safe in this draft. I mean, you're already dealing with a lot of dive. It does very well into the top lane. I feel like it's a free pick, and I'm not sure why they didn't ban it away, but they had to ban Varus, so Ezreal comes out. And then they banned away the Aurora, which is a more aggressive answer to the Rumble top.
And as Elise, it's fine. This makes you very heavy on the AP. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I get the combo, you know, it's cool. You get the 1-2 of Lilia and Rumble. We talked about this, but we never actually see those combos hit. And I do think it gives you so much AP. I would have much rather seen even picks that aren't as strong right now. Something that was, yep, that was actually, yeah, I was expecting that. So
the last thing I wanted to see.
Okay, if Kingen plays it well, I actually think this is good. Okay, because Rumble should really struggle into a champion that severely outranges him, which the Anivia will do. You were lacking AP on the top side of the map, and now you have a consistent AP threat. I actually think this is a fine angle. I also think that Lilia's ganks early on are really, really weak, and post-6, I think it's really hard to punish the Anivia. Like, these are circumstances where I can see it be good. Now, do I trust it? No. No, do I
Is Galio much better in this situation? Yes.
I wouldn't say
That's
much.
what I personally believe.
Yeah, maybe.
But for the player, he's probably a lot more comfortable on the Anivia, which is weird to say for a top laner, but it is Kingen, who has played it a lot, and I'm glad we did talk about it right before this draft, because he does love the pick, and I hope that he shows its power this time around, because he definitely didn't last time. Gio Showtime.
He is on his Ezreal, but Gio, I wanna see him return. You know, shake off that 2024. That was a bit of a rough year for the whole team, because Nongshim right now is looking good. I gonna have to see both these drafts in action. I also think the KT draft is execution heavy, which do you really want to do that, KT? Maybe not.
No.
But they did it anyway.
They did it anyway. This started with Kalista, and we'll see how it works for Duckdom in this game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, off we go. Game number 1 begins now between KT and Nongshim. And that last sign we saw said, hold on tight. We're going up on the KT roller coaster. It always does seem to be that way nowadays. As BDD is here, by the way. They don't know about the Corki hiding in the bush. And that's just Gio's flash. Now, he is Ezreal, but it's still very big, especially in this bottom lane situation.
He should be able to get back to the wave by the time the minions actually get there. So, like, this is nice. If this was another AD carry, I think it is actually big, but Cuz is Lilia, so his early ganks aren't real. And then I also think that as long as you respect the Nico and Kalista, you should be fine. It's still nice, you know, it's still like good on BDD, nice little trap being set there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is the end of the world. Kingen, that's disgusting. That's Grasp. It's Grasp Anivia. And
you've done this before, right?
Are you seeing? Yeah, well, I know, but every time I see it, are you seeing the conga line over there?
Yeah. The other Anivia tech.
Yeah.
Just blocking all the minions. And it means that the wave gets stuck right in front of your turret, so even if there was a jungler that could gank pretty well, you're not really too concerned about it, because you get a nice little freeze right in front of your turret instead. So you're never really in any danger of getting ganked. You are in danger of getting dove at times, but you do have an egg, which is the other part. So even if you die, quote unquote, you go into your egg, and they can't stand with the turret. So
it's also one of those matchups where, again, all that Kingen wants is he wants to like get a base in, get to his tier and a chapter, and then hits level 6. And at that point, I think the lane becomes extremely hard to manage for casting. He wants to try and get as many leads as he can early, so I do like, you know, just trying to push in as much as possible, try and get as much damage down the turret. Obviously, because King of Wall, we also can't actually trade at all, outside of the Grasp autos, which we do see him throw out. We'll see, as expected, Calyx struggling in this matchup early. BDD has been the shining light for KT.
Yeah.
And this is a matchup where you can really show your laning prowess and keep a lot of pressure on the enemy opponent. As we do see Gio actually, it's wave behind.
That's the way it goes for an Ezreal who lost his flash. That is a good point. The one thing I wanted to mention, it's funny you called him the shining light of PT, because there's a lot of fan signs that use the Korean word for shining light, which starts with B. It's actually beep, you know.
Perfect.
So they use that for BDD as kind of the shining light. So you're not the only person who considers him the shining light of the roster.
He's the headlights on the roller coaster. Yeah.
I don't think roller coasters have headlights.
Oh, these do.
Well, we're just killing Peter. Okay, he's just dead. That happened very quickly. They just used all their abilities into an eco, and Peter did not see it coming. As Gideon elects to die as well, they stick around. They say, no, we can win this. And they absolutely could not win this. There's now flash on him from Cuz, and Jiu's just going to die. That's a double kill for Deathdom's Kalista 3 minutes into the game.
Is this not exactly what we wanted and expected out of this game?
This is exactly what we needed.
This is exactly what we needed. We're 4 minutes in. We are flipping the game over a crab. KT has a lead. I'm just going to be very upfront with you, everyone. We are going to treat leads in this series between these two teams as fluid. Okay, they're not set in stone. As the initial player is great. We have Lance, just actually gets it, doesn't get phased by the clone, take him down.
Leave.
But just leave. Just leave. You don't have prio mid. You don't need to do this. You got the kill. You know, your Ezreal that was in the hole, out of the hole. And then you go back and you start digging again.
I feel like Lehens has to be the guy who's making that call, right? Because it comes down to somebody's yelling in comms like, we win, we fight.
And he's Elise. So it makes sense if you're the Elise. But if you are the Ezreal or the Sejuani, you should be like, hey, whoa, this is Kalista and Lilia. We are not winning a longer trade. And that's, again, not even taking into account the fact that BDD at prio was always going to have prio, made his way over.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Duckdam had already attacked Gideon a bunch of times as they were killing Peter. So there were already a bunch of Ren stacks stacked up. Like, even before they decided to stick around. So I think the clear answer should have been just to abandon ship. And instead they didn't, and they gave 2 kills over to Duckdam up against Jiu, who still doesn't have his flash, doesn't have barrier. Lehens just came back, and Jiu already took a bunch of damage from this double buff Kalista with 2 kills. So this lane is kind of the definition of cooked for Nongshin right now.
You could have just taken the kill on your Ezreal. Maybe you give up 1 more kill, right? Like that, I could see that happen. But I don't think you have to give up that much, as they did. Now, this is only about a 500-600 gold lead, so we're not going to go too crazy. BDD does have both his Valkyrie and this just a little drive-by from Gideon. We're probably looking to play towards those grubbies, as Calyx obviously has the better ult for team fighting. And there is no sleep just yet for Lilia.
I mean, this Kalista, it's only a Vam Scepter, but it's definitely a very strong Kalista anyway, and they have setup, and they have prio. I don't think there's really any world in which Nongshin was going to fight that one. Instead, they just group up, they watch them do it, and then they leave.
Yeah, you just have to take a look to make sure, are they doing it? They're doing it? Okay, let them have it.
Yeah.
Now it's the SpongeBob beam, the let them have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, let them have it.
It's one of my favorites, yeah. Well, BDD, he's not scared of the Yone. The Corki early on does have a very good matchup into it.
BDD missing a few, or Calyx sidestepping if you're feeling generous. Lehens.
Generous Giga Chad. Yeah, I don't think Cuz really cares.
Well, it should be. Oh, Crab here for Gideon. Jiu, though, guys, I'm really happy Lehens got 20% damage on Cuz and we get Crab, but Jiu is getting zoned out of... Okay, that's not on Jiu, right? Like, this is... What are we doing? What? We're not even getting Dragon!
I don't think Lehens knows either.
We're not even getting Dragon!
Sejuani on a 7-game losing streak, including junglers like Owner, Lucid, Hambach even, Canyon. Just not finding success with Sejuani, and that was the first pick for Nongshin.
I'm not sure about you trying to slip Hambach by, and I say that's something.
Well, I said Hambach.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, but I feel like you went with Owner, Lucid Canyon, and Hambach.
No, I said Hambach and then Canyon, actually.
Okay.
But
that's not better.
Hambach
I like Humbug.
Well, I was highlighting junglers that I consider like top tier, right?
Sure.
And then Hambach kind of came in.
He was also
at the
there.
end.
No, it's
yeah.
okay. It's okay.
You know, he's
I'm
good.
just making sure.
It's just
I know. Yeah.
he's not the best.
We're on the same page. I truly do think that it's also because of Cuz, who was, what was it, last year or even maybe in 2023, like Sejuani and Viego every single game, and it worked out very well. Yeah, I don't think Gio has had the best season. Dr. must cleanse, so I feel like, yeah, he also knew.
Oh, he got the minion!
Yeah.
Who was running in a straight line in front of Duckdom, who was standing behind them.
Again, at most they get cleansed. But I don't think Gio has the best season so far, but this lead is not, like, it's whoever made the call in bot, and then we're trying to make these things happen, which makes sense because we're playing Elise. But again, I think that chunk on Cuz and Gio giving up a wave, was it wave and a half, is fine if we get Drake. We didn't get Drake. Now, Kingen is, on his next base, going to actually be a champion. So he should start getting more prior from that point on. Now, I say should, because I don't know if either team is really going to play by the rules, but that's what I think should happen from here on out.
I don't think the rules apply to this series,
no,
honestly. I think these two teams, they took the rule book and they threw it out the window. Especially KT. They don't follow the rules. But Nongshim, they decided, you know what you said right before we started? As long as, you know, Nongshim don't play to KT's standard, we should be fine for them and for the series. Well, they're playing the KT standard exactly. And that's not good.
Or it is good if you like entertainment.
It's good for us to enjoy the series, to have fun. But
not great for Nongshim.
Nongshim might struggle a little bit. I'm
okay.
curious about the stacks for Kingen.
There we go. Base is in. Yeah, they do ping the minions, so not falling for that one. Catalyst in as well. Things are looking up. Anivia as a champion. Will they fight? Will they just give this over? I think that they can. But Engage needs to be crisp, and looks like they're not going to take the risk. Just give this one up.
All right. Well, that's KT now with 3 grubs, the first Drake. 2 kills on the Callista. An Ezreal on the other team that doesn't exist. And they gave over Rumble in the draft to pick top Anivia. Yeah, I think KT are looking pretty good in this game.
Now for KT, the one thing I would be scared of is that there is so much single target CC on Nongshim, and they don't have a front line. Like at all.
Lilia can be a bit tanky. It's not a real front line. Now KT are kind of just going to give this one up and corral them into the pit. There's a couple of guys there that could potentially get over the wall. There you go, but Lehens will have to flash. And Calyx had to use his ult for it. Kingen was never joining, didn't have TP, neither did Casting. So just 4-on-4, but Nongshim, I mean, they get the grubs and they get out mostly unscathed, so feels pretty good for them.
Any second now, Kingen is going to start applying pressure. Right?
He's playing Anivia.
Yeah, I know
still,
that, but
he's still playing Anivia. Yeah, I feel like he should have drafted the Rumble too.
Yeah. I don't get this obsession. Like with Nidalee top, I get it. Because Nidalee top, it basically is like every top laner's dream to just have full control over any lane, right? It's like what Callista top was a thing.
Yeah.
It's just because it's like there's no way you can ever punish me and I can do whatever and I have cryo in every single situation. I get it. It's nice. Top laners, they don't get a lot. I give them that, but
yeah.
Obsession with the Anivia, not seeing it. We'll see in team fights because this is a short range composition for KT. It should be really hard for them to play into any situation when Kingen is there. Just hasn't been there for the fights, and I do want to see Nongshim actually play. Maybe they're looking for the one-item spikes, right? The one-item spikes are crazy for GU, for Calyx, and for Kingen. Although Kingen obviously is going to need some time to stack up, but still, it's going to feel pretty good.
Lehens going in on this one, actually. Peter might be in a bit of trouble. Goes into the Pop Blossom, and the Sejuani ult does get flashed. So Peter trying to hold on to that spot. Casting taking a bunch of damage. There's the stun. Gonna have to replace that ult, though. Casting quite low. Kingen going in, not really caring about Casting's damage at this point. And now, Lehens coming down. That's no dodge on the stun. The Cocoon predicting the flash, but instead they just kill him. And you know what? In the long lane, against a melee champ, that Anivia is going to enjoy her time.
Only downside is that Lahens got the kill. I think it's a little bit too late for the Elise to get the kill in an ideal scenario. I like the counterpunch from KT though, immediately just seeing that Lahens is on the bot side, applying pressure towards top. This turret is definitely going to fall, but it's still nicely done by Nongshim. They get a good amount of damage towards the bot side turret, and it still accelerates Kingen. And that's something that I think was really a necessity. I do think that they have very clearly opted into that we are going to out-teamfight them, and you need your Anivia to be a champion. So getting a Roa done is definitely a big boon for them.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason, you know, you asked about the obsession with Anivia. You know, with Roa being as strong as it is, she is one of the best champs to use it. Surprised we don't see more Ryze, but I guess, you know, not really in the best spot is Ryze outside of the mid lane. Whereas Anivia, you know, with her blocking the minions coming in, there's a lot of different tech you can use with her in the top lane. You're pretty immune to dives, etc.
I got it. I understood it more when it was a lane swap meta. I'm like, oh, that's a cool piece of anti-lane swap tech.
Yeah, but then Kingen saw the Roa, and he's like, oh, I got to play it every game.
Roa's busted. Got to give it a go. So next Drake fight coming up in a bit. We have a lot of very, very high value souls still available. It'll be fun to see if like
what is
Hextech?
What is the worst?
The worst
out of these?
It's a very good question.
I feel like it might be Cloud.
Is it? Like,
but Cloud is so good.
Yeah.
It's just less obvious. It is incredibly good.
I think
but is it better than
it depends.
Mountain, Infernal, and
so
Hextech?
Hextech and Infernal are always better, I would say. I think Mountain...
I don't know if Infernal is.
I don't think if Mountain is really good if Nongshim get it, but if KT get Mountain, I don't think it's unwinnable for Nongshim, if that makes sense. I think Nongshim has a lot of consistent damage in fights.
Yeah.
Whereas KT, I think, are going to be very reliant on bursting people, so... so maybe it's Mountain, but...
It's probably Mountain. I feel like it's Mountain, and then like Cloud and Infernal are similar, and then Hextech is best. That's my official rating. We'll see what it is.
I think Infernal also solves a lot of issues that KT might otherwise has, because I don't think their comp skills that well. Unless, again, the execution is crisp, as we do have a possible fight on our hands here. Kangen and Costing, both having TP. First one comes through.
Jiu's kind of zoned away here. He's trying to join the team. We'll see if he can. In goes College. They're going to find that backline, but Duckdom, he survives, and the Pop Blossom keeps him super safe. As also the Drake did go over to KT, and now the Kallista's untouched. Finally, Kingen does get over here, but one ult, and that's about it. Jiu not able to do anything, and now they're getting run down by the Rumble as well. As Cuz goes in, tries to set up the kill. Kingen not able to get him, though. And now Kingen will probably pay for it here, although he does flash. And he will survive. Oh, the ult comes in with the stun! And they at least get that one kill, as it's the only thing that Nongshim will get from that fight.
Why wasn't it Anivia there the whole time? The moment the bird shows up, the fight looks close. Just drop the wave.
These are questions that don't have answers.
I'm not even joking. I think if they have Anivia here, right?
Because his ult is on the wave.
What? So they try to go on top of Duckdom and Peter. Peter obviously has a defensive pop blossom. Duckdom actually uses his sums very nicely, is able to get out. And then at this point, once Kingen arrives, the fight's already lost. So like, look how much he still does in this very short time frame, because KT is a short-range comp, and they're trying to play into Anivia, but Anivia wasn't there!
Yeah, I really think he was just finishing off the wave and then ETP. I legitimately think that.
That's what it was, yeah.
I didn't see his wave state, but I saw minions there, and I think he was like, no, I'm gonna get this wave and then I'll go.
I get not wanting to TP on like the aggressive ward. I think that's valid, but then you do need to TP earlier because you need to be there.
Yeah.
Because Costing was there. He did his job. He toasted. You know, they didn't get any kills, didn't get an assist, but that's okay. I don't know about the flash on Ezreal, though. That was definitely, it's Ezreal. Maybe just...
I mean, he got them pretty low.
Yeah,
Everything was
he also
close.
got King and Flash. You know, in extended sense.
Yeah, I think it's okay. And yeah, I mean, you've been highlighting the power of what this Anivia does. We've talked a lot about why Kingen likes it, but specifically into this comp, it can be very strong. especially Kalista. You know, we think a lot about Talia, but if you're Kalista and you're trying to like hop around, there's walls and there's like big slowing zone. You're taking a bunch of damage. You're trying to get very close to the enemy team, but you can't because of Anivia. That just doesn't feel good ever. But in fights like those where KT are leading the charge and, you know, King has to reset his ult and people are dying in front of him and they don't really have a front line, then the Kalista is really going to pop off.
Some great hypotheticals about how good Anivia could be.
Yeah.
If she was there.
If she was there. Well, next time. There's always next time, right?
Yeah. It's fine. It's Hextech. We're not going to give up Hextech's soul point for free.
It is the best soul. You and I both agreed on that one.
Is either team truly ahead or behind? What's your take? I know KT's ahead.
I mean, KT are technically ahead.
But.
Yes. But are they actually ahead? In reality, knowing KT, knowing Nongshim, what they're capable of, I'd say not really. I'd say this is a very even game. Especially now, I mean, Nongshim got the Rift Arrow. They're going to do a big chunk to this mid turret. They're not going to get it. Looks like very close, though. One auto from Gio actually does get it with his W, as they are trying to punish it. But in goes Peter, and on a Pop Blossom on a 2. Gio, though, just going to burn him down. But it will be the trade that is absolutely worth for KT as they take down the Ezreal.
Giving Ezreal for mid lane turret is probably okay.
Yeah.
I think Nongshim will take that. Not too much invest on either side. We do have the barrier used for Gio, which you won't have available for the upcoming fight, but nothing too crazy. Peter also not using much more there besides just getting thrown in, as it's Gio going for the final W here that prompts this play. Have the ultimate come through with the slow, and then even with a really nice ultimate there from Gideon, plus the attempt at zoning out from the Anivia, they still get on top of the Ezreal and will be able to take him down. Now, time spikes are going to be hit, I think, for, yeah, there you go, BDD not having his transformation. Gio might get it.
I feel like he only had the money to buy it because he didn't buy anything else, but he only had the money to buy it because they got that mid turret. You know, I don't know. I'd say just don't ask questions. I don't think they have answers in this series.
Okay, it's fine. Just reset it. Just reset it. Just let it go. No. I don't
retake aggro in the pit.
I don't know if you want to take the team for. If they drop the debuff, it might be fine, but I don't think. No, it's 50 stacks. Yeah. Alex, you don't have resistances.
Well, they're gone now. And he took a bunch of damage. And now they've gotten their low. They've gotten their low for KT to potentially take down. Doesn't look like they'll be able to, as it does leash back.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're not doing it.
But the dragon is about to spawn.
Yeah, I know.
So Nongshim took a bunch of damage, and now they can't fight over the dragon.
Going back from mana and then shoot a second item.
You're doing it.
No, it's fine. KT should also not be doing it.
Just do the dragon. Oh boy.
Oh, Kingan's gonna show up.
Yeah, Kingan's here. TP's in.
Look at their health bars.
Peter's low, casting low, no resistances, gets the flash already. And now that front line is being chipped down, and it's just a flip. It goes to Nongshim as the smite was at like 2,000 for Cuz way too early. And Gio's just going to withdraw. You see that Kingan as well is kind of going 1v5. I'm not sure why. He got that Voracious Otacon buff. In goes Gideon trying to set up Calyx, who is going to beat out the Pop Blossom. And it actually does kind of work out, as now the Hens wants to keep going, but might just die instead. Okay, well, they get 200 gold over to KT. And the Drake is still up. It's still there. And Gio's going top. I guess they're going to get it anyway.
Only KT versus Nongshim can get this level of entertainment, Valdez.
It's only just beginning. We're only 20 minutes into game one.
And we know it's going to be 3 40-minute bangers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm strapped in. I brought my seatbelt.
I just don't get this obsession with Otacon from either team, because Otacon, as we saw, just turns you into paper, and there's so much AoE damage on either side. So if you are in the position, and I get it, like the concept is you try and force them into an unfavorable fight, right? They need to come into the choke point, but that's just not how it has really worked. Nice attempt there from Calyx, also is able to actually get out. And then Laenz is like, I can take them. And there's a lot of low health bars in your release, and I get it, but there's also 4 people there.
And you're elite support.
You're just elite support.
Who had flash.
He had a rocket belt and a dream.
Yeah. I feel like during the play-by-play, I think I said that Cuz smited. I think it was actually the Ren from Duckdom. that came in. I think it was just a, Cuz in a bit of a wonky spot. Kingen is trying to bait them into this fight, but not quite able to. But yeah, I think Duckdom rended and then Gideon smoked. So that's just miscommunication, to be honest. If that is what happened, it's possible also that Cuz just smited. As Duckdom now in a lot of trouble, trying to flash away from the Yone, but that is Yone, ladies and gentlemen. And he does not care about the flashless now, Kalista. And Kalik's going to pick up a nice kill.
I don't think it's an easy game to play Kalista in, but still a little unfortunate. Duckdom did start off very strong, picked up the early kills. We already mentioned back then that, you know, what it means we don't quite know is, ooh, Gideon gets spotted. Can't get slowed, but does get tagged, obviously. So we are going to have a fight over this dragon in about 2.5 minutes. We take another look here.
나 혼자 하려고 가볼게.
I'll try to get Kalista.
나이스.
Nice. I like how he had no hesitation on the flash. After he missed his Q, he's like, nope, flash kill. Not wasting any time.
We're setting up side lane traps. I agree. I think Calix has also seemingly gotten a lot more confident. I think that was something that was really lacking when he debuted last year, where we saw him, what, like 2 or 3 games, I want to say, like a few series maybe. As I said, very confident.
All right, Curse is definitely not real, Chronicler. Immediately goes in and just dies.
Yeah, I said it was a side lane trap. The trap worked. They sprung the trap.
Yeah, you also said it was confidence, which that was confidence.
Exactly.
It's not the right type of confidence. It's overconfidence. Casting, I think, is just dead. Like, if you're just running away from an Anivia, you're eventually going to die. Either you go in and you try to trade, or you don't go in at all.
It's working! The bird is here! He's level 16, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't really highlighted that. But he is a level 16 Anivia, 2 items on it. I love the Swifties as well. Want to highlight that. A lot of slows on the enemy team. And you're Anivia, so you're really gated by, can you be in range? And do you think Corky's going to have a better time into Anivia? He's not. I mean, it can wave clear safer than casting can, but
he's still a low range carry.
He's going battle Nivea. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's very tanky, right? I mean, he's got Grasp, he's got Rod, he has Seraphs. He's not really going to die anytime soon, so I think he can get a decent amount of value out of it. This feels like Leandres is also very strong. As Duckdom in a rough spot here, he's going to cleanse and gets away. But that is now his cleanse and his flash down, and he's half health with the Baron available.
Yeah.
And with Notion, the way they took the Otacon last time, or tried to take the Otacon, they might just start Baron.
I understand now. Noshim did Otacon to then bait KT into doing Otacon. And it worked! That's a great plan!
5-head.
Now,
next level macro.
The zone control of this Anivia should be able to at least delay them, and they're going through this rather quickly. Calix has so much damage. This is gone.
Yeah, they have so much damage with this comp. Gideon low, though. He's going to get out with that, and yeah, just not able to get into the pit. And there you go. They just steal it away. Notion now in the lead. They got that first Hextech Drake. They might have to give up this next one, although with Hextech Gates, maybe they get there on time.
Ooh, so yeah, giving up Soul Point is a little. You are getting a lot, right? Because you're going to keep this push going with King and the Lands. It looks like KT isn't sending anyone, so you're getting possibly 2 turrets with the pace that we're on. So I don't think that's a bad trade. Oh my god, we're sending 3. Yeah, definitely getting an inhib for this, it seems like. I like the backs coming in already here from KT to try and mitigate this. We'll see if they're actually able to get through, but the dragon is still being taken, and looks like Peter didn't want to run the risk, so it's just casting going back.
That was so close. That was really close. We don't see a lot of Ezreal steals nowadays.
Yeah, if they lose that, well, especially with Ren Smite, you can't.
The Kingen is so strong right now. Like, casting is just, there's nothing he can do. No, all he's done in this game is throw out a couple of ults, and but in the side lane, he's just useless.
It's as mentioned. This is what I just happened later than maybe I was expecting a little bit too much of the early Anivia. But it makes sense. Rumble's biggest strength is that he wins against basically every other melee top laner in such an extreme fashion, right? And then you can build an early lead, but against Anivia, you can't build early leads, as we saw. And then later on inside, you need to walk up to do any damage, but if you walk up to Anivia and you don't all in her, you just don't get to play the game.
Yeah.
There's melee laners that can try and just blow her up in a combo if she is caught with her cooldowns out, but Rumble can't really do that.
He's kind of hanging out in his own jungle as they're Hextech gating in. That is a clone.
I love the second zoom.
Yeah. Uh-oh. BDD no Valkyrie has to flash the Anivia special, just gathering flashes from the enemy team. You know, I wasn't a believer in this, but considering the game, the way the game has gone, and the side laning he has done, that's another flash. Kingen going to take down Peter's flash. That is pretty big on a Nico as an engaged support as well. KT really just kind of wilting, it feels like, in this game.
Just desperately trying to hold on. Top lane in it is open, but no one is making their way over. It's just Gio in mid, pushing steadily. They did get Soul Point though, which means that not all hope is lost. They are definitely going to lose this turret. We'll see if they can hold on to the inhib.
Yep, last Baron push here. Fake Lilia going forward. Nongshim not going to be scared of that one. No Sejuani ults come out either.
Oh, Cuz has flash. I think he's looking for something.
They got to do something, right?
Well, they're going to give up this top inhib, or this bot inhib. I think it's fine to give up one.
Yeah. Well, seems like they don't really have a choice on that one. They want to go on a Cuz. There's an ult onto him, and maybe it gains some space, but they don't get that last auto onto the inhibitor. It lives. The inhibitor is alive. Cuz is not able to go in, but now we got ults flying everywhere. As now KT extremely low, not able to do much. BDD just frontlining by himself. Desperation coming out here for KT, and instead they just die. And now they have a wave in mid. Nongshim might just be able to end the game.
Well, no, they can!
Yeah,
Baron had run out!
All you had to do was clear the wave. All you had to do was clear the wave. And instead, they opted not to. Super Minion is already here from mid lane. Sleep finally comes out. Lilia has had 0 value in this game. Getting pretty low now, and well, Cuz is gonna die. Only 2 members left on that side. Is now a stun gonna hit casting. Once again, not able to do anything. Ziyu just going on into Duckdom, who's just left by himself. Might be able to take out Gideon, but he's not able to take down the game as that X is getting incredibly low. They gotta hit it, they will at the last second. Calyx still had half his health, but you know, they wanted to make it interesting at the end of the game. Nongshim, a clean game, nothing to see here.
And next time Kingen says pick me in Anivia, the people will respect him. I am sure the space will have a lot to say about that game. There were a lot of decisions made that I don't think really hold up under scrutiny. But Nongshim, the counter pick worked. The priority was, I think, a little off when it came to the draft. And for KT, it really does feel like with the early lead that they got, they should have been able to actually push it. But I think for me, their draft kind of missed the mark. It felt like it was kind of jumbled together. Particularly, this Lilia to me just didn't... I need to see... I know the damage is okay, because again, it's percentage health, but it just didn't really feel like it fit in with the rest of the composition. And what should be a really threatening mid-jungle 2v2 right between Cuz and BDD never really came to fruition. And then the team fighting, I think, was always going to be an uphill battle with a comp as janky as this.
Yeah, it was a janky draft, I'd say, across the board, but Kingen makes it work with the R5 Anivia into that Rumble. It was not very close, as he did the most damage on his team. So Nongshim gonna get the win. It's what we expected. Maybe not the game we expected, but they got the job done. KT will have to go back to the drawing board, back to blue side, probably here for game 2. We'll see how it goes after this quick break.
노플 조심해 얘들아. 릴리아는 공 있어.
천천히 사오 쳐 사오.
릴리아 다 아래 거부터 칠게. 타워 치면서 보자 얘들아. 나 릴리아 투 막아줄게. 이거 큐플 막아줄래? 내가 일단 타워 쳐. 미사 하나 둘 셋. 내가 우측 플레이. 오케이. 내가 조냐 있어.
아 괜찮아 원코다.
약간 정면쪽으로 봐. 오케이. 확인.
뭐야 나한테 1인공 했다?
위로 뚫 수 있냐 이거? 보자. 근데 맞아. 너무 높을. 릴리아 볼게. 넘어서.
왔어 여기까지.
너무. 라인 타워. 타워. 오케이. 타워 칠게. 빨리 높을.
Buzz, but I'm not sure because
Like with a Dutch accent.
well, no, they just said that was just a theme song, and then everything else was in Dutch.
Okay, that makes sense. Was Mrs. Frizzle still Mrs. Frizzle?
Definitely not. No, that would be too much.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was though. But it
Seems
did
like you
exist.
didn't watch too much.
Well, no, Brendan, it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, you're 30, you know?
I know, yeah. Well, 31 now.
Yeah,
but like,
oh.
that doesn't really.
Rough.
No, no, it's great. I don't remember a lot about childhood shows. Unfortunately, including the name of Miss Frizzle.
Okay, that's fair. We're really targeting Gideon this time around with a couple of bans already. And then the Gwen, which they don't want to play.
And also, they don't want to first pick it because you might run into King and Diana.
You might get counterpicked.
Yeah. I love that even though King has had a pretty consistently great year so far, we just keep going after him for that one pick.
It's just getting memed.
It happens to the best players. You know, Barrow is still kind of an enigma this deep into his own career. As Jace is up.
Why did we ban Sion instead of Jace?
Do not pick Mbessa. If he like slams Malphite, I'll be all for it. You know, just pick other stuff and then R4, R5 Malphite. I can see it. You know what's also open is Varus. If they go Varus Jace, it's free low.
Yeah.
I mean, bet alone. So just
Sinjal's good.
slams in, slam another prio pick, and just go from there. Because they have a plan, right? Kingen is going to counterpick something. Because you don't just let Jace go through. You know that Jace is going to get picked. I don't think you want to play Mbessa because as strong as she is, she's definitely the lowest of like the, you know, the top tier of Gwen, Rumble, Jace, Mbessa.
The top 4 tops.
So I don't want it to be Mbessa, anything else. And you can wait.
Varus.
You don't have to do it now. So this is great. I think this is a really good 1-2. It also takes away a lot of picks. And it also means that BDD doesn't get to play it. And if he ends up going into something like an Ahri, it is a much more strategy specific, right? Like you can go Ahri Viego here, for example, because Ahri is one of the picks that can circumvent the rocks. Silas is another, but it doesn't mean you're going a little bit more all in on that specific strategy.
Yeah, Ahri seems good.
Yep.
BDD definitely enjoying his Ahri.
Ahri Viego, is that what we're looking at?
Or like a Wukong.
Yeah, it could be. But Wukong into Talia I think is not fun.
Or Pantheon.
That would work. Yeah. Because he gets
Ahri,
stunned,
Pantheon.
but it doesn't really matter. That's a good combo. I like that. Okay, so don't just let them pick Varus. I'm telling you, it's R5 Malphite.
Just
So
let
it's
them.
so free. I gotta walk right into the trap.
Maybe they ban it. Maybe you gotta pick Malphite here.
I don't think they will. And also,
Maybe he'll play Diana into Jace.
Oh god, I don't even think the matchup is as good as it once was because of Grasp Jace, right? Like when it was Conqueror, you could actually out-sustain him, but now it's a little crazy as the Varus will get banned out. So guess we're not setting as big of a trap as I was hoping for. Very sad.
Yeah. I do wonder what they're going to pick for Kingen in this game, or what Lehens is going to play here. Because you could pick top on 4 and then save support counter pick. Or you could wait until you see the entire comp before making your decision on Kingen's pick. But
they are banning Poppy. Makes sense, because Poppy on 4 here is really good. It's good into the comp, but it does mean Lehens can just slam Rakan on 4 and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And Rakan's in, I think is quite strong.
Or you could wait and see if they pick it.
Yeah.
Into Talia.
Yeah, I hope not. I don't think they should. It's Ali. So is it like Rakan Rel?
Or you pick your top laner and you wait.
Nah.
To counter pick.
I want to see what AD carry they pick. Telling you, pick Lehans here and we R5. Leona makes sense. Leona also is, you know, again, we've talked about this a lot. It's not really a hard counter into Rakan as such, but it's still a good matchup. Still nice. And it sets up Talia really well. It's a strong 2v2, so I don't mind it. Also, there is, I imagine, somewhat of a suspicion that this might not be Pantheon jungle, right? It could be. I think it is most likely, but we should consider that it could be flexed, as Rakan still makes sense, even though you're playing into Leona. Does not make sense playing into Talia, though. I do think that that is just something we've seen consistently be tough. Really good Rakans have pulled it off. But you just really limit your playmaking potential. And KT, you've been on blue side for 2 games, and I don't feel it. You know, I don't feel the blue side power. I'm not...
Yeah. They have been struggling a bit. Kaisa is a pick that is very strong and is top tier in the bottom lane. That was kind of avoided. They banned Jhin instead.
You already have Talia. Just pick the rock. You know, you have two rocks.
The rock.
Can't beat that. It's not going to be that. It's going to be something else. It's like Ornn?
Jax?
I feel like Kingen is going to... But like Jace just...
Yeah.
It's like Wukong top? That's an old Jace counter. Oh, okay. Well... not what I was hoping.
Yeah, this... yeah.
So how about that game 3, huh?
Well, they're setting up really well for the game 3 with the top Nidalee. You know what Nidalee is really good into? Into melee tanks especially, but just melee champs in general. You know what Nidalee is probably not that good into?
Strongest top laner on the current patch.
Jace.
I just don't... I don't see it. I'm willing to be convinced, Kingen, but I'm not right now. Because I feel like with Grasp this, because if it was, again, there's been versions of Jace that are really strong, but they're both squishy, and they don't have that much sustain. And then I can see the Nidalee actually work, because you can just poke and prod, right, and out-trade and heal up. But it's Grasp Jace. Like, he's going to be both extremely beefy, he's going to get Shojin, and then he's just going to boom you in the trades. It's great artwork here. Very evil little raccoon there. It flew 13 hours to see KT win.
There you go.
That's dedication.
Smiley face. You see, he tried to write it in red, but the pen was running out, so he switched to blue.
You got to do what you got to do.
Didn't even get a new sign. He's like, nope. Shows my dedication.
I appreciate that.
Probably wanted red for KT, but it's fine.
Good.
Because Noxum are also red, so.
It's a bit confusing.
Yeah, blue is better because KT have been on the blue side twice now. Well, guys, we're getting ready for game number 2. Top Nidalee is back into Jace.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초
Well, off we
남았습니다.
go. And you said you were willing to be convinced. Let's see how well Kingen can convince us. Because theoretically, you know, if you can sustain through the damage of Jace, and, you know, he's not going to be bullying you as much as a melee champ.
Early kill would be great. Would help a lot.
That would help, but casting spots him, and he gets out.
Okay, he actually went phase rush. I don't know how I feel about that.
I guess maybe for chase potential, you know? If you get like an opportunity to really burst, your phase rush goes off, and then Nidalee would try to hop away, and you're just like, no. As, okay, well, that's a flash at a Calyx.
That's a really big win for Calyx. Because now BDD started Charm level 1 and also doesn't have flash.
But if he got him.
Yeah, okay, but he didn't.
But if he did.
But he didn't.
But let's just say he did.
This is what happens. I swear, this is what happens when you're on a team that loses too much. You start just making plays, go like, it's worth. It's not worth.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna matter again, but it is definitely interesting as well. Austin going for Gathering Storm. Wow, Gathering Storm, absolute focus. So, seemingly just thinking, with the Grasp, I'm still not going to be able to outtrade. It's just not worth it whatsoever. So maybe we... overestimating the Jace damage potential a little bit there. Because now he's definitely not going to have a good time in these early trades, right? He won't have that additional sustain. So he's instead going for a setup that has great scaling, and I think inside has a lot more leeway with what you can get away with in terms of how far you can push up, but you are a lot squishier, right? Grasp does actually make a big difference, also because you get access to Resolve, which right now he will not. As that should not come as a huge surprise, given that Ahri is picked, I want to say almost exclusively right now as a counter pick into the Taliyah.
Very often so, for sure. And I feel like Ahri oftentimes is picked with a very strong jungler that she can mesh well with and just gets a decent amount of wins anyway. Here comes Cuz. Calyx not going to spot him until it's too late. The charm hits. Now Calyx doesn't have flash, so he's just dead. There you go. First blood given over to Cuz, who's already making the Pantheon jungle work.
I didn't mention it earlier, but there is obviously one big benefit, and that is if you revisit the lane, Calyx gets caught off guard. Nicely done there by BDG, connecting that charm, and it's an early kill. Cuz making his early impact known as Casting is not having a good time. Maybe this is what we needed, is another Apex Predator that can punish the Jace that top laners actually play.
Yeah.
Which in this case, again, is Nidalee. Nidalee is, if you can get away with it, it's just peak top lane experience. You win every matchup. Who cares about getting outskilled, and you just side lane all game long.
I mean, that's fair. As long as you're winning your lane, you're doing something well. It's better than losing lane and losing game, which like a lot of our other top laners would do. Yeah, you know, if you just like handshake and you're like, okay, I just hope to go, you know, even or something. And Casting, he didn't do very well early on, and Kingen hit level 2 first and has Grasp, whereas Casting did not take the OP rune. And that just means his time is going to be pretty rough.
He will scale well, so that's something, you know.
Yeah.
Went for a full scaling page. But it does mean his early lane is going to be even more rough, and King has also been having a great split, as mentioned. So I think he's going to be pretty happy with the whole situation. So we do the double scuttle setup here for Gideon, thanks to bot lane Cryo and Calyx roaming with him as well.
Yeah, you talked about the pure top laner experience. I feel like Kingen is the guy in the top lane that has really embraced that, you know? He's like, I'm going to play all the weird stuff. I'm going to try to just win my lane. I'm going to do all this research on the weird counter picks. You know, we saw the Diana, we've seen the Nivea multiple times. And oftentimes it has worked. And I feel like Casting is just not really a match for Kingen tonight. I think the Rumble, he really got kind of caught out, didn't know what to do in that lane, and really struggled.
I do think that one is like purely matchup dependent. Like I actually think that the Nivea, when played well, not punished early, should just... That one I don't feel as bad about. This one, we'll see how he can manage dropping as little as possible. But also Casting is obviously new to the LCK.
That's why.
Yeah, Kingen is...
I feel like it's the perfect prey for Kingen, you know what I mean? Like, it's the newest top laner, and Kingen is like, this is my guy. Like, I'm going to pull out all the weird stuff. He doesn't have nearly as much experience as someone else. Even like Morgan, a guy who has a ton of experience, but isn't like the top laner. Like, he's the Lord, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I feel like even Morgan would have a better time dealing with these rough lanes that Casting has been put into.
Lovely there for Nidalee. We'll see. Casting has definitely gotten better. Yeah, between Zeus and Kingen, we have two of our... I will just pick whatever I think is good. And then we have Keen and Shiu, both of which I think are also playing incredibly well, but are a lot more measured. I think they don't have nearly as many crazy counter picks.
I don't feel like Pantheon wins that extended trade. Really nice charm off the wall. That's going to get Calyx kind of on the wrong side of it. But yeah, in the 1v1, I would say that Xin Zhao still wins this against the Pantheon. And Gideon identified that very early on. Now the supports are going to get in. Spirit Rush here for BDD means that Calyx can't really stick around. Gideon taking a bit of damage. They want to go in. Another stun comes out from Lehens, but BDD, full on mana, going to get a bit more. Here's Kingen now, and Cuz comes back, and Lehens just kind of left by his lonesome, but at least Calyx comes back. And eventually Lehens will die. The only question is, can Notion get anything back? Kingen gonna get the flash and the kill as he flashes over the wall, takes out Casting, and Gideon is still alive on the grubs.
So Gideon was trying to sustain up the grub. Well, he also got the first grub, but Gideon, while all of this was going on, was trying to sustain. 'Cause obviously with Xin, you have a good amount, but he was losing because it was free grubs.
Okay. Trade of flashes.
I don't think that's okay.
This is fine.
Yeah, he gets flash, but if he was 6, I think that's okay. That's fine. Cuz will visit me. It'll be worth. So as Fellas was saying, I think Zinza right now is just insanely strong. If this charm doesn't hit, they lose that fight very, very cleanly. Because now, because of the position he's in, I think otherwise Calyx can actually flash behind the Pantheon when he does the flick, and they definitely kill him. But he's not. Then Lahens shows up, and Lahens is obviously a lot stronger in these type of messy skirmishes. Gideon stays alive thanks to the amount of food he gets. Watch this, by the way. While all of this is going on, check Gideon just fighting for his life against the Grubs. Doesn't have flash, so he's like, well, try and be as useful as possible. And then Kingen actually making his presence known on this Nidalee, kind of showboating there. Really big kill that accelerates him even further in the matchup that he was already winning, by the way. And they got free grubs and just gave up Lahens. So maybe it was all according to plan.
Yeah, and you're accelerating your Triforce on the Nidalee as well, so
yeah,
you're just kind of winning for Nongshim. Now, they're not ahead on gold. The jungle gap, the 2 kills that went to Cuz, it feels good right now, but that's not going to feel good as the game comes along, even though Gideon's behind for now. As here goes Cuz, they're trying to take out the Xin Zhao, but that is pretty difficult. They finally do take him out, though, as casting will go down here as well. But TP comes in, and Nongshim have to abandon the play. KT will win it, but now casting isn't top. And it's probably that tower to go down here.
Just don't
demolish.
No. Pull the camera away. It's fine. Short term, this is great for KT.
They
got
the
Dragon. They got a bunch of kills. It's great. It's great. Don't look at. What am I saying? Don't look at top. I don't want to look at top.
Okay.
Casting can TP. There's another wave that's going to go into the turret. They get Dragon. They get kills. It's great. There's no downsides to this play. It's a cannon wave, so actually, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Turns out to be.
It's not great. I don't think it's goal positive.
No.
Okay, does deny the play
for now.
No, there we go. There we go.
Curses aren't real.
I think if BDD doesn't TP, this play is basically perfect. Right? This is nicely done. You set up a play and Gideon here. Actually, really nicely done there because he knocks Cuz away. Actually, doesn't take as much damage because when you ult, you get the full stacks. But I don't think he actually got as much damage off because he got knocked away immediately. So he just got the stun, but that was it. And then as a result, Gideon stays alive for a little bit longer. And BDD feels the need to TP as, oh god, you can't do this to casting, guys.
They absolutely can.
And he is
This is the risk.
Very dead.
When you play someone new to the LCK, they will get bullied. That's a miss on the seismic shove. The phase rush is going to save him. It's going to get him out.
He's rushing out of there.
Now he lives, but his turret doesn't.
Shh, pan away. There we go. That's back to bot lane.
Yeah. Well, the Nidalee is so far ahead. It's incredible. I can't believe I doubted Kingen for a moment. Should have seen that Nidalee and been like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I doubted.
Although perfect use.
I doubted him too much, and also, I was like, oh, Malphite. If he picks Malphite, he get to the point where he was relevant now.
Yeah.
Instead, he has a 1.6k gold.
He's still Nidalee, but we've seen that.
Okay, so
I feel like our players are getting better at playing her.
I do
as a top laner.
I do also think that she is one of the champions where I actually see split push work, and they're actually split pushing with it.
It's like a better version of 80 Kennen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have arguably even more escape potential.
I think, yeah,
because
more.
Kennen has it initially.
You're just worse in
with his lightning
fights.
rush, but she's more consistent. And yeah, you're worse in team fights.
But who cares? Just don't team fight. I do think KT have one of the best comps possible to side lane, right? They have 2 semi-globals that can impact side. I think Calyx is just dead.
Oh, he's gonna try to ult out! He gets out! They don't take him off the wall in time! Meanwhile, Duck Tom nearly goes down to the turret, but Cuz comes in and is gonna get the cleanse here, but Lahens might have to pay once again. That's 0 and 3 now for him.
No, pan away, pan away, pan away!
And the turret's just going down. This is gonna be like 2,000 gold the lead here for Kane. 12 minutes into the game. Not something we've seen happen really ever.
Is there anything that can stand in the way of Kingen and his 13 out of 13? That's what I want to know. Well, losing this game, obviously, that would do it. No, not even.
No, they voted for Duro yesterday.
Yeah, but that was base. Duro had a really good blue.
No, but they've done it before.
I don't think so. I trust.
I feel like VNCast is very based, but sometimes they get a little bit too based. Like they overcook, you know?
Doctor, why are we not just cleansing immediately? Because we could have done that. It ends up being fine, right? Maybe it was because he wanted to bait in, was communicating with Cuz. Let's punish their own lands. It does mean that KT, they're making good plays. All the money is on Cuz, and I actually do think that Pantheon skating is somewhat underrated. I will defend this opinion. You guys couldn't see the face that Val was making. But he gets so many free stats, right? Like the amount of armor pen he gets is crazy. Basically, just true damage. The problem is that I do think it's very hard to actually play. It's like, it kind of reminds me of the way that if you're playing like AP Nidalee, you need to like weave in and out. You need to get the most out of your cooldowns. You can't just go in and try to face plant your way through, which with something like a Zinzo you can do, right? Face plant in, press R, and you will do well.
It's part of why he's picked so often.
Yep.
So reliable, so consistent.
It really is.
Like, even if you mess everything up, at least you have your ult. So.
And your Q, right? Like those will always be good.
Yeah, Calyx. Face checking a Jace. That'll happen every time.
And we haven't talked about Calyx yet. Calyx is not having a great time, Val. He doesn't have an item. Now, he has good components, but he doesn't have an item, which is why casting kind of bully him around like that. Level down as well, but doesn't matter.
It's a 3v3, but the Kai'Sa's going to get there earlier. The Charm comes in, and Gideon is in a lot of trouble. You can't get away from that Kai'Sa. Ult not going to help you there as Zhu comes on over, but yeah, I don't think you're winning this team fight with the Nidalee, as the Kai'Sa got in first, and now Kingen elects to go for the fight.
We're going that
running
way?
away, and now he's flashing. I mean, maybe he gets out through the jungle, but no, the flash comes in from BDD, and that'll be the end of him, and that is a shutdown as well. So much gold just went to the Zari.
As it turns out, we were right to ignore the Nidalee the whole time, because the rest of the map was not doing so hot.
Why did they fight?
I don't...
Why did they fight that?
Don't know.
There's no reason to. And, ooh!
And we're just
uh-oh. It's a lot of damage.
If I'm KT, I'm honoring casting for Tilt Move, by the way. The man got a monstrous matchup, got bullied, got repeatedly they repeatedly attempted to dive, and is still making his impact known as we...
Jubu's running to mid lane. Jubu's running to mid lane. If it's Ashe versus Kai'Sa, he needs to be there if you're going to fight.
They clearly did not expect there to be this many people. That's the only explanation, right? Like, they didn't have that much...
Well, they saw 3 of them.
Well, I know that, Elvis, but I don't know how else I can explain this. You want to play towards your strong side of the map. You want to play towards a Nidalee. But I don't actually think that's true. I actually think Nidalee wants to be alone, and you do. And I know the Dragon was there, which is the reason why this is happening. But I would have much rather seen Kingen just be top and just get the inner. Because now you lose the Dragon. Another Hex Tech, by the way. Love to see it. You lose the Dragon, and KT... The one lead you have is on this Nidalee, and if you try to teamfight with it, I just don't think it matters. I don't actually think the Nidalee provides enough in the teamfight for that to be valuable as casting. I did give him a little bit of credit. Maybe
he's got his flash. The stones come down way too late, and now he's just using the phase rush to buy some more time. Rift Herald should go over to KT as the arrow. That is amazing, actually. Gio perfectly on the mark. But everybody's bot, so they're just going to lose the Rift Herald for the trade. Not sure if worth.
Caution didn't flash either. Like, probably, yeah, that's probably fine for KT.
I think they like that.
They'll be happy with that. Again, the Herald, you get a ton of pressure towards mid. I think it's good. I don't mind it.
The Jace was 0-2 already.
Well, he's also, outside of his direct lane opponent, like, he's fine, right? I don't think he's substantially falling behind in levels. Yeah. And never mind, not looking great when it comes to the levels. I think the lack of CS really playing a big part there. But this mid-jungle duo for KT is so strong right now.
They're only a combined 6-0 and 8, 17 minutes into the game.
Well, we knew Velvet.
And it's Ari Pantheon.
Velvet, we did know. We saw this draft and we're like, I don't know, KT. But
your mid jungle is kind of cracked.
And you also know that this series is going to be a free gamer.
Yeah, we knew that. And
don't be fooled, because it's
Alex,
fine. There you go.
He trapped himself in between his own wall and the jungle wall. And so he put down the wall, and then Cuz just flashes out. So we're just trading turrets here, but it's a trade up for Notion. They should be able to take the inner, and they're playing towards their Italy. We didn't necessarily want to see this, but it's working for now. See how far they go with this. B2D still not backing, and the wave is cleared, so Notion will have to back away. But can they get out?
An angle. Oh man, those spears don't do anything. It's so funny. Because you're used to normal Nidalee, right? Jungle Nidalee, where you see that you go, ooh.
Yeah.
Is Nidalee now just a triple flex? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Like the Poppy of old? You
we haven't seen
top,
the support yet.
Top jungle and support. That's just our life now.
Here comes the Rift Herald.
They really need that. Well, I guess we can use it for the inner charge.
Yeah, because their back was delayed, right? But the charm comes in on the Lahens. They're still going to go in on this one. TP coming up, and the big knockup from Peter for the peel as they take down Lahens, who never had a chance. In goes Duck Dom, nearly takes off Kingan's head, who has to flash it. And Gideon, yeah, I mean, he gets away, but you know, Kingan's over there, not able to kill anyone. I feel like he should just be sat in the side lane, but they're not playing as a team around this Nidalee very well.
Well, that they are and they aren't, right? Like, I feel like we are just grouping with Nidalee.
But that's not...
well, no, I know that. We saw the best example was Zeus, who just never was seen near his team. As we take another look at classic Lahens call, I want to say. They do get the TP, which is nice, but Lahens does give his life for it. And Gideon's flash, which I think is actually a big deal, right? Flashes out, doesn't actually die. Spear doesn't quite hit him there from Cuz, but I don't know if that's really worth... Oh,
uh-oh. Okay, well, trying to get on the Lahens here. They want to turn it, as now Lahens will engage on a BDD, but that is an Ari. No damage comes out. He has to flash over. No Spirit Rush. So BDD now down a flash.
That is a lot of cooldown to use there. I think Nongxie might be feeling good about playing aggressively towards this dragon. Lahens is a little low.
Well, it's getting healed. It's not big heals, but
still nice.
Little heals here and there.
Ooh, deep TP from BDD, just a big moment. Kids can get this. Game's looking good.
He's got a Spirit Rush back. The arrow misses as well, and now Nongxie kind of have to abandon ship, or at least re-center themselves as a team. Oh, that was so close on the Duck Dom, who does have Flash Cleanse, and avoids that as well. Here comes BDD now, and just going to escort them out of this one. Nongxie, I feel like it's the right call to not fight that, but you're still falling behind, as now it's Hextech Soul Point to KT.
I don't trust this. It's too clean.
Something must go wrong.
Decisions make too much sense.
Oh, they're just... Maybe KT starts the Otacon, and that's where the throw comes in.
That could be, could be. Is the gold lead on Nidalee real if the rest of the map is on fire?
Not really. I mean, especially the way they're playing it, where it's, you know, the Hullbreaker Nidalee who's not playing the side lane. Like, that's not winning. You're not winning that way, unfortunately. And I feel like Nongxie got a bit unlucky with the Hextech Soul because you want a little bit more time to side lane, but you also gave up the first couple of Drakes. But I don't know if they even if it was a different soul, would they have side laned anyway? I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're doing that.
Well, that's my point. Is also it's much easier said than done because from the perspective of Nongxie, at any point, if casting hits a knockback, if BDD hits a charm, Doctam could just instantly warp in and blow you up, right? Even though King is relatively tanky at this point, especially with how far out Doctam is, he just blows you up. And then Cuz also has his ultimate. So actually, side laning is, I think, a lot easier said than done when there's that many threats. But it also means that Nongxie don't have that much pressure going on, and they really need to because the rest of their laners are substantially behind. So that is Rakan.
Gonna go in after the Celestial opposition, but still Rakan. Dashes away. This top mid duo still extremely strong. 7-0 and 9 now for KT.
They have parked King and inside, which I do like. That's good. Keep him there.
Yeah, it's good. You know, they have vision of the Kaisa in mid, at least. So, for now, he feels safe. Maybe he just remembered the Pantheon. Backs away a little bit. Yeah, he doesn't really have much pressure. Doesn't feel like KT are doing much with the lead they have. It looks like maybe starting the Otacon here soon.
KT doesn't have to do anything, right?
Well, they're going to go in on hands, and not the best target. Here is Cuz in a lot of trouble, but the turn onto him isn't going to work. He just flashes that one. Gideon has to ult now, but the charm comes in, and they have a very melee comp trying to get into the circle. Not going to be able to do so, but a lot of damage already going in as the flick back comes out from Calyx and gets them the kill as 2 immediate cleanse. Very nicely done. A very close fight as in they go on a 2, and immediately he goes down as Kingen finally here, but his entire team is dead. So the TPs come in, and Kingen's far less impactful than the Jace. So now he's just kind of walking around them, but not able to do much. It's 4 members of KT up.
They do have members advantage. I wonder if they actually want to do Otacon, because don't forget, they don't have Smite. Gideon is up, and he can Hextech gate over. They're going to try and burst it, but Kingen's here to play spoiler.
Yeah.
Again, Gideon is getting close. Like, they don't have a Smite. Oh, cuz he might try to ult in.
Yeah, I mean, Hex gate and then ult in, if they can keep at least.
KT, I don't like this.
Throw on the Otacon, he said. Seems like Valdez knew. He saw the future. Cuz gonna ult in, but now your whole team is so low. And now they're indexed into fighting this one. 5 members of Noxum coming over, just giving it away. And you know what? At this point in time, I feel like that's the right call.
Yes.
You've already put yourself in a bad spot. Arrow gonna go wide, and the wall is coming down. And there's the knockback, he's gonna hit it. This time once again, and Cuz is the sacrifice. The Solar Flare goes wide, but Noxum now taking big strides into the lead. After that one, we'll see what they can do with this Voracious Otacon, though. Maybe take a Baron here in a minute?
It's fine. This is just a normal roller coaster experience. If we go back, take a look at how this started. So I think looking for a pick here is great, right? You don't actually need to do Otacon, but just kind of fishing is good, because this 4-man unit is way stronger than your opponents. I want you to pay attention. So they try to go in. I know. Watch Gideon's flasher, because it actually ends up killing Jiu. I think it was Gideon, maybe it was Calyx. But right here, that flash from Calyx, if he tanks it, Calyx actually I think is not nearly as big as a deal of this fight in Jiu, because Jiu has to use his cleanse and still takes a ton of damage. And that also sets up the ult for Dokdom. So BDD sets up, but then KT make the call to go for Otacon without their jungler when Hex gates are up. And really the combination of Hex gates and Neo objective, I think, is just going to be indefinite entertainment. It doesn't matter what stuff we add, but Hex gates really throw off your perception of how long it takes for an enemy jungler. But they've been in the game for, what, like 3 years now? I feel like we should be getting used to them.
Yeah, we should know about the Hex gates, at least. The Otacon, you know, we're still getting used to that one.
Oh, cuz if he gets the smite still, none of it has mattered. It's all okay.
BD goes in. Lahen's trying to go in onto him. The flick back comes out again, but he's got Zhonya's. BDD in a bit of trouble, but he's able to flash out. Kingen now on the backside.
Fighting!
They still have the Otacon, and they're going in. Look at that burst out coming out from Kingen. He takes out BDD, and now Noxum are just winning the fight. As Duckdown goes in after the fact, only gets the one withdrawal. KT, it didn't have to go this way. And Noxum take a big one. They deny the soul. They have the Otacon, and they might get the Nasher here. As they're grouping, especially with the Hex gates, which we keep pointing out. They have Smite. Might as well do it.
I call with these back-to-back Otacons, Feldes. I just... Oh, my God. Okay, so maybe they can do something about this Baron, but it's Lahen's that finds the engage onto his old teammate. BDD that gets taken so low. And then you can see kind of the hesitation, right? Like, Carson is already kind of dipped. Dokdom, I think, rightly, he is dead, right? Like, I don't think he gets out, so I think the ult makes sense, but KT just looks so disjointed, and nope, they cannot stop the Baron.
You know, he could have ulted onto Kingen and gotten out.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Yeah, but it was just, it was a fight that was kind of up in the air, and you're like,
yeah. You know, it's
just hindsight is like, yeah, that would have been the play to get him out, but yeah, there was just no escape by the time he ulted, so. That is fair. This feels bad for KT that it felt like they had such control, and then they go for that Otacon play. And now Nongshim are in major control here. They denied the Hextech Soul. They got the Baron. And, I mean, at this point, you know, KT have something big to do, and they're really struggling into this Talia, like, multiple times. Peter has tried to engage, but rocks are on the ground. And it's just been, it's been a rough time, as we predicted.
And the gold lead is gone. The mid-jungle gold lead was like 2K.
Yeah.
It's evaporated,
They had 0 deaths as well. Now they have 4. Chronicler just rode in his POM boat.
I was expecting a free game banger.
Yeah. He's not happy. He's not satisfied with the 2-0. And, well, let's see. I mean, Peter gets in. This time he's not going to be denied by the rocks, but instead he just denied by death. And Duckdom has to do something. He is going to die as well. It's KT, one last-ditch effort. And, you know, they weren't even that far behind. Like, there was still a chance in this game. But that fight was not it. That's not going to win you the game.
Come on, KT, we need a third game. That's a start, Okay. Oh, come on, he needs to die. No!
Well, they get the flash. Casting goes in and he gets taken out. Yeah, well, they did get Calyx, but they are also both going to go down. It's not feeling good. The game is crumbling before our eyes for KT. And Nongshim, they got themselves out of it somehow.
Why? You were winning!
I hope Laura's not watching this game. Well, maybe this is a chance. Yeah, they're going to take down the Hens, but now we got one coming in. And Kingen is so incredibly strong, and so is Gideon. You know, he's got us under Sky. He's incredibly tanky with the Black Cleaver. And that amount of damage just isn't going to do it.
He has the same items as Cuz. Cuz is just made of paper.
Yep.
Well, okay, so it was definitely, you know, they got the Baron there, and you see how it's like a little dip on the gold graph. Probably they get a few turrets.
But then this happens.
But then this happens, and the worst part is, this is if the rest of the team is here. Peter buys a lot of like they're in a choke point.
Duckdom just didn't go in.
There's just no damage. Well, it's also like they're not on the same page again, and then here, so they do eventually take down Calyx, but his stall is amazing, right? Like gets the stopwatch up, then here Casting goes in, and look at this. PD just hits the edge of the stones. Look how low Gideon gets. If he doesn't get stunned for just that second, maybe he can walk back, get the redirect.
Yeah.
Get the pullback, and then this, I don't even, it's over now. It's done so.
No, we must force you to watch this. Don't watch live in bottom left. Watch the main screen. As they tried, and they failed.
It's kind of insane that Gideon just evaporates Cuz like that. And he's up 2 levels.
And he is maybe
one
one of the best junglers on the patch.
I know. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed we don't get the 3-gamer. That's fair.
It's fine, Cuz just ult in and steal this, and then we have a game again.
I don't know if, well, maybe we do.
No, it's 5 seconds, it's not happening.
I mean, if he did it and he got it, maybe we have a game.
Hextech Soul is so busted.
But they're like 7,000 gold behind.
It's fine, they get Hextech Soul. Nongshim also need to do some funny business, but we know they're capable of that. We know they can. Just haven't really done it yet. They're pretty locked in.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever killing King in here.
He's going Zhonya's next, isn't he?
I think it's a good call.
Yeah,
I mean,
the only way you lose is if they just all blitz you.
Yeah, and Italy, you're still using the AP, obviously. You don't have to go only 80 items.
Is Calyx really gonna be the second person to win with Talia in Italy, or it's Ari specifically? I feel like that's also not a very fair representation of how the matchup between these two guys went. But Calyx post laning phase, like in the team fights, has actually been super high impact.
His Seismic subs have been fantastic. Like he hasn't really missed a single one.
Just got Giga gapped early on, but it looks like KT, like in game number 1, they just can't actually take that lead and turn it into something.
Yeah, very much all over the place in the team fights. Lehens is going to immediately McNails himself, it looks like. Very nicely done there on the charm. But just trying to create space so they can take down the turret without the Baron. The only thing is that taking down mid-turret or even the inhibitor doesn't really do anything for the Baron, you know?
A Rakan with a dream. One man.
Spotted.
Okay. They know.
Now, still gonna go in, and now we gotta see Duckdown pull the trigger. They're gonna take down Kalix. He is incredibly low. Peter goes down here as well, and, well, they just didn't go in. Okay, now he's gonna go in, and for the third time, Duckdown goes in after the fight and dies. And the coordination is just not there for KT. It's just not happening, and Nongshim are benefiting every time.
I no longer want KT to win it. Take it back. I think it's fine if Nongshim wins. I think they've earned it. Quick 2-0. Nothing to see here for Nongshim.
It's not KT. This something is wrong. Something is wrong. I don't know why. But Nongshim, congratulations to them. It's actually a relatively clean 2-0. A little bit to see here and there, but they got the job done. It's still a 2-0. It looks good on the standings. And you take down KT, who are still struggling to somehow break their way into the top 5 or even the top 6. But with this loss, they'll be at 3-5. And Nongshim, I said at the top of the day, you know, if they take a decisive victory against KT, that will help us in determining where they're at in the standings. How strong is this team really? Kingen pulling out the 2 crazy picks and getting big wins in his lanes is definitely going to help them a lot. And then they go on to eventually take the 2-0. Kingen very happy. I'm sure he's having a lot of fun in this meta.
And KT, there were some individual under and over performances. I think Costing struggled, but his feels a little bit more excusable. I think Dokdam, unfortunately, had kind of a drop-off after what was a really great re-entrance into the LCK in the last couple of matches. Gio was fine. He was there. I don't think he really needed to do too much, but Kingen, obviously, complete pop-off. Kalix, though, I know the early phase of the second game was rough, but his team fighting, it feels like it just keeps improving, and I think it's been the big difference between this consistency for Nongshim that was lacking before, right? I feel like Fisher had games where he really popped off, but I do think he lacked a consistent level of form. And it looks like KT.
Yeah.
Everything is slowly coming together for this team. And the mid-game shot calling between these two teams is obviously, it's not even remotely close, right? Like, because Nongshim and Lens, they might flirt with throwing it out of comp, but they don't actually do it. You know, it's just like, oh no, I'm not serious, I'm just having some fun. Which is good.
It's very true. I mean, that's the way you gotta, that's the way you gotta play it. Got a C+ in my major, but I'm here for Nongshim. Midterm season nowadays for all the students.
These early fights are good for KT.
I feel like this was a bad fight for Nongshim. It was a good setup for KT.
It can be both, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Kingen definitely could have if he just punched up and flashed, but and then BDD, he's trying so hard. He's really giving it his all, but Cuz, I think, unfortunately, another performance that doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence. And the shot calling for this team, it's been a consistent issue, but it definitely needs some work.
Yeah. Definitely the biggest issue here in Game 2, where they get ahead and they don't really know how to close out the game. So we've seen this from other teams in the LCK, but unfortunately they're only teams that are on the, you know, the right side of the standings. Not the top teams. The top teams know how to close out games, and unfortunately KT are still struggling with trying to become a top team and don't really look like one right now, whereas Nongshim, you know, iffy at moments, but they still got a 2-0. They didn't let KT win this game even from ahead. They fought their way back, and that deserves a bit of praise.
We've had some fun with it, but the reality is, as much as some of the early skirmishes look pretty even, Nongshim, they keep looking more and more consistent, and they're really showing why they are a lot higher up the standings than KT are. I think KT, at the beginning of the year, looked absolutely dire, right?
Yeah.
I think that KT now, and particularly the first week of LCK as well, I think KT, they're still slowly trending upwards, but there are a lot of core issues that they clearly have to deal with. Whereas for Nongshim, it's looking good. The only thing I would say is that they talk a lot. Like, guys, the game is won. You can just push the Nexus, it's fine.
Got Ari's ult. Try to go for this. Just hit the Nexus. Lens had his hands in the air. You know, more damage done by KT, but they're the ones that took the most damage on the standings. So.
KT really is not able to deal with objectives. That really is the key issue here, and that's something they got to fix, because League of Legends right now, more so than it's arguably ever been with the additional Void. Come on, guys.
No way! Really? VN Cast, I'm looking at you. Will we have the 13 out of 13? How about you, Soup? Who are you voting for?
I don't know who else you'd vote for. I don't see it. I don't.
Gideon?
I don't. Oh.
I mean, there's just not a good other answer, which is why I'm memeing it. I don't know. There is no other good answer.
And vote for Lahens if you enjoy chaos.
Yeah, he made it pretty fun.
He had good
That's fair.
engages.
That's fair. Well, guys, Deer will take it away on the translation here.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Kingen on the side of Nongshim Red Force. Congratulations! Thank you. Following the last match, you secured another victory, and Nongshim is back on the rise. How do you feel? You know, because of our losing streaks previously, we had to really flip it around and start anew, and just being able to accomplish that makes me feel great. And in game 1, you guys banned 4 junglers, target banning the enemy jungle. So what were you watching out for? First of all, just based on our tier list, I think we thought that it would give us a lot of advantage to ban the enemy jungler. And in game 1, your choice was Anivia. And this card has only been played by you in the LCK. So last time against Jax and this time against Rumble, what strength does she have? You know, at first, I actually just copied Zeus playing Anivia. And right now, I guess the only data of Anivia is really from me, but I just feel like there are so many good aspects that Anivia can provide for the team. And in both games, it looks like Nongshim had a comeback at Atakan. And in game 2 especially, Nidalee gameplay at the Atakan fight was amazing. So how were you able to stay so calm? You know, I don't think that it was a clean game today. But based on just capitalizing the enemy's mistakes and just trying to come back after the good plays that we made in the Atakan, I don't really think there was anything specific that I did especially well to stay calm or anything like that. So it just left a bit of a disappointment, honestly. And in game 2, we have to ask you about the top Nidalee. Some people are pretty doubtful about this pick. So do you personally recommend top Nidalee? I think it really depends on how the player is feeling that day. Against Sion, I feel like it gives it an easier matchup, but I think it really does swing really hard based on the matchup that you get. So I guess, you know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend top Nidalee against every matchup. And your next opponent will be D plus Kia. What do you have to say about your matchup against you? You know, I know that I've never played against you, but I know that from what I've seen, she was a really good player, and he does not have a rookie aura. So I'll have to keep my guards up. I'm gonna keep myself on my toes and do well against you. Looking forward to that matchup. And that's the end of the interview with Kingen, and back to the space. Thank you.